restoration of all things message in the spirit and power of Eliyahu to prepare the way for Yahushua's second coming. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Welcome to another restoration message. Today's message will be about the power of exaltation, interceding, and fasting in the priesthood. I am John, a bondservant of our Master Yahushua, the Messiah. Let us enter in the Ruach, into the veil of the inner court of the temple in the Shamayim, into Yahuwah's presence. O Father Yahuwah, hear my cries, and let us assemble in brokenness, in humility, in tears, and in trembling at your word. We are before you in our shame to mourn for the transgressions of our people in the nations. Let us bow ourselves in our knees and spread out our hands towards you, our Elohim, in the Shemayim. O my Elohim, I am ashamed and disgraced to lift my face towards you, for our iniquities have abounded over our head, and our offenses have reached your nostrils. From the days of our fathers, we have been in great trespass until this day. Yet now, in this season, you, O Yahuwah, our Elohim, have come with compassion to leave us a remnant, to give us a foothold in your set-apart place in the heavenly realm. O Father, you have punished us less than our iniquities deserve, and have given us such favor we don't deserve. You have enlightened our eyes to give us a little relief and encouragement in our slavery, even though we have forsaken your Torah. For we are slaves in this Babylonian matrix, yet our Elohim has not forgotten us, but has extended and entrusted his covenant to us. He has done this in the fiery furnace of Babylon in order to give us new strength, so he can rebuild the fallen tabernacle of David within us and raise its ruins. Oh Father, you did this so that you could give us all a wall of safety through our prayers and a pure fast. Oh Yahuwah, teach us how to fast and how to pray so that we can see and feel your fire. And now, O Heavenly Father, I pray for strength for the Mishpocha in these areas, O Yahuwah, that we are lacking so much. O Yahushua, the Elohim of Israel, you are righteous, for we are that remnant that you have awakened, as it is this day. We are asking for compassion upon compassion, because we know that you, O Yahushua, are the Elohim, you who plucks up the nation, who breaks them down to destroy them and overthrow them, to build and plant, to raise them up. O Father Yahuwah, we seal this prayer in your Son's name, Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. Let us all give Yahuwah our full voluntary of obedience to what he delights in on this Shabbat. Hallelujah, hallelujah. The question today will be, are you fulfilling your calling as a royal priest? And if you're not, what is missing? We're going to come out of James 5 verse 15. This is the Elijah challenge for us. Verse 15, and the prayer of Emunah will save the sick, and our master will raise that person up. And if they have committed any sins, they will be forgiven. Confess your faults to each other and pray for each other so that you may be healed, because the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous person is highly effective. Beloved brothers and sisters, before we break this down, how do we transition from a mustard seed of faith we have been all given to the path of a mountain moving faith? Today, that is your Elijah challenge. There are three key words in verse 15 involving mountain moving faith. And that is effectual, fervent, and righteous. Effectual is having adequate power or force to produce the effects without doubt. This is the Rhema power in you, the resurrection power. That's what we're seeking. This is why we want the fire. Fervent means hot, not lukewarm or cold. Hot, boiling as a fervent zeal, fervent piety, being devout to Yahuwah, on fire. This is the fire of Elijah. Righteous means just, according to the divine Torah, as one who is set apart in heart and observant of the divine commandments in practice. This is the zeal of Moses. Beloved brothers and sisters, these three must be present in the prayer that always must be present for supernatural healings, to break a curse like cancers. We've seen too many people in hospitals, too many people dying young, just too much going on with these generational curses. This is what it is. These are generational curses, and they should not be on the body, but they are. And this is also to set the captives free from Satan. It must be accompanied with a vision and with a passion of unceasing prayer from our clean lips, as well as the heart of the righteous person. Remember that the person must be truly righteous. As we stand in prayer before YAHUAH, to let us not forget that our righteousness is imparted from our Master. In Galatians 2:20, it teaches us that it is not us, but it is Messiah in us. Even though it is reckoned as our righteousness, it is Messiah's righteousness. And the second thing we are to do is that we are to petition our case with a fast. You see, beloved brothers, there is an intense power in prayer, an intensification in the word of YAHUAH. When we read of the great prophets like Moses that pray in the authority they possess with great endurance outbursts of high intensity. For example, in Ezekiel, he was commanded to lay for 365 days on his side, warning Jerusalem, which is a metaphor for the bride, for the coming judgment. What an example of obedience and prayer to help accomplish him that task. Where are the Ezekiels today? I do not know of such men as him. I also read of Moses when he fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. I can just go 4. Moses laid out on the ground with his face downward for 40 days straight. It was 40 days and 40 nights straight. When ancient Israel tested and provoked Messiah to anger when he was about to destroy all of Israel. Messiah Yahushua, without food or water like Moses, was in the wilderness 40 days, being tempted by Satan for me and you. And he overcame the wild animals that surrounded him, and the messengers were ministering to him. We also hear of James, how he had calluses on his knees for praying for long hours. All of the disciples, including the Messiah, prayed long hours. So we must be standing in righteousness. We must be in right standing with the Father. Psalm 66 verse 18 tells us that if I regard the iniquity in my heart, YAHUAH will not hear me. Messiah instructs us how to fast in Matthew 6:16 through 18. He tells us not to fast as the hypocrites. Do not have a sad countenance. Do not have a sad face. We are to fast with joy and gladness. And we ought to anoint our heads with oil and wash our faces frequently, so we do not appear to men as if we have been fasting. What we do in secret, Father sees, and he will reward us openly. In any case, where petition is offered unto YAHUAH, emunah, belief, shema, that's to listen, hear, and do with obedience, trust, and faith must be present. But not just faith, but childlike faith. Because Messiah told us, except we be fully converted as mature sons and daughters of the covenant and become as little children, we will not enter the kingdom of heaven. We transition from milk to meat as it is given to us. When we permit our flesh to die to its rights through exaltation, through prayer, through fasting, then you will allow YAHUAH to work in you. Then you will allow YAHUAH to work through you in the resurrection power and in the might that quickens us for healing. And that is that quickening power that the Messiah was raised. Not only for healing, but for deliverance, for setting the captives free, or whatever is that you're needing. Today, lawlessness towards the Torah is at a high level of apostasy, and faith has decreased tremendously. False prophets have caused the believers' hearts to grow cold and lose heart in attaining eternal life. Prayer and fasting has become a byword. Most believers today have fainted. They are yielding with discouragement. They are exhausted. They have no patience. As Messiah tells us in Luke 18 verse 1, and Messiah spoke a parable to them to teach them and to us to the effect that men ought to always pray and not lose heart, to not grow weary, to not faint. And faint means to not have patience, endurance exhausted. We see many brothers like that right now. Or the mind is yielding to discouragement due to the flesh. It is fatigued. And this is what social media is doing. And this is the plan of Satan to keep us so busy that we don't have time for him. Beloved brothers and sisters, YAHUAH designed man as a priest of prayer in the image of Messiah. Genesis 1 verse 26. Let us go down and make man in our image. That's what he meant. Messiah taught us that he prayed every day. He was always in the mountain praying. If he wasn't doing the Father's will, he was praying. He created us not to lose patience and wait on him in prayer. It is our duty to pray. Without prayer, we sin, we malfunction, we are not perfected. There is no real transformation, and there is not death to self 100%, because we are not aligning ourselves to Yahushua's image to do the Father's perfect will on earth as it is being done in the Shemayim. The tabernacle ministry in heaven, they pray and worship him 24/7. So we are either praying for life or we are in life support, enduring the curses of the Torah, trying to connect in the Ruach realm to the heavens while operating in the flesh still. The outpouring of fire always comes from the throne room, and it will come to those whose prayers have been approved by our great high priest, who are completely and utterly dead. Only a true believer with Emunah and Messiah and his true teachings, who has totally died to self, can endure all the bombardment distractions that we are seeing today, to stay focused in the place of prayer and be effective. Then and only then can we become a mighty tool in the hand of YAHUAH. Many times our minds, our thoughts, and the environment will want to distract us from the vision, the passion, and our goal. But look away from the distractions and remain focused, beloved. Remain focused on the place of prayer. This is the vision and the goal. Everyone must have a vision of hope. We must be disciplined. If you don't have a vision and a goal, you must get one. We have to have a vision. We must be trained to aim our minds to the Shemayim. And why is this? Because our mind wants to wander and lust through our five senses every chance it can. Therefore, it is most of importance to aim, to align, and to build our muscles in our conversations, in our relationship, in our prayers, in our supplications, in our crying out to YAHUAH, so that our prayers can be heard and be answered with a faster response. Our fervent prayers should be about life, the 100-fold realm in the heavenly temple. So let us train our minds to support our spirit through prayer. Let us invest in assurance that when the plagues come and the pestilence come with famines and persecutions, we are fully protected by the fire of YAHUAH. Part of the Elijah challenge is that prayer needs to be made for a long time. So I'm trying to plant a seed here As far as I'm concerned, for me, I'm not doing enough, and I'm working on it. But this is a tough one for me, and I hope this relates to others. We spoke last week about the priesthood, about entering into the hundredfold. We spoke about what we found. We are to enter the inner court because many of us are fatigued. Many of us are discouraged. Many of us are losing heart to our first love. So let us start from the bottom, climb up Jacob's ladder, and work our way up to the deep things of YAHUAH. This is not the time for that. This is not the time to be fatigued, to be weary, to be discouraged. We were born for this reason, to live in the last days, beloved brothers and sisters. Our purpose is to walk in the newness of life as adopted sons and daughters. So yes, last Sabbath we learned that we're being commanded as a nation of priests, not a nation with priests, but a nation of priests, to receive the full authority of Messiah when we get to this hundredfold area. And when we get to the hundredfold, we are to now go back to the outside of the tabernacle, to those that are lost, and to reveal to them what we found inside, and to share with them in love. Life, beloved brothers. And prayer and fasting and exaltation is part of that. So what did we find inside? We found the key of David, the splendor of life, and how to attain it by prayer and fasting, to be part of the sheepfold, which is represented by the inner court of the tabernacle of David, that Messiah is restoring at this very moment. So what is the role of a royal priest and Messiah? We are to be intercessors. So an intercessor is a mediator who interposes between parties at variance. They give praise, they stand in controversy, they stand where enmity is. These are legal terms of law, and I'm going to explain that. We know that the sons of Zadok, they would stand in controversy when it came down to the Sabbath, when it came down to the calendar, when it came down to the priestly duties and services. That included prayer. When we stand as mediators between whomever comes to us for prayer, we are to go to the throne room, to the hundredfold, as mediators, as intercessors, to plead in the high court through our Messiah, our attorney, through the Ruach Qodesh, to the Father, who's the judge, so that the legal terms of the law that have been broken by this brother, that all charges be dropped. This is what we read in James 5 verse 15, that the prayer of the righteous, if you are truly righteous and pure in fasting and prayer, sins can be forgiven. That's huge. That is a huge thing. A mediator is one who enters in supplication, petitions, and pleads for favor to grant a request on behalf of self, someone else, or a group. This can be a nation. So we're standing in the gap for the nation of YAHUAH, who is scattered among the nations right now. They're divided. Some of them are mature. Some of them are receiving this knowledge. Some are not. Some are still walking very carnal. We stand and intercede for them. As an intercessor, we are a priest who is to work the gifts of the Ruach, prophetic, healings, warfare, and cause the fire of YAHUAH to manifest, to cause a revival in the Ruach for repentance, knowledge of the ancient past of the covenant. We really haven't seen this in the level that is going to be. We're seeing a little bit here and there, but it hasn't come to full fruition, and that is because we are lacking in prayer and fasting and exaltation. And that's the truth. Let us continue. Now, here's an example. During Passover, which Passover is coming, there was much joy in Jerusalem. And at the height of the kingdom of Israel, with King David, they were in one accord and in unity. And that is what's going on in our day. We're not in one accord. We're not in unity. If someone hears a message and it doesn't fit their agenda or the way they believe, they don't show up. They go somewhere else. They don't take it before the shepherd and discuss it like they should. That's carnal. We're not in unity that way. We need to be in unity. 2 Chronicles 30 verse 27. Then the priests, the Levites, rose and gave a barakat. They blessed the people. Their voice was heard, and their prayer went up to the Shamayim, to the set-apart Qodesh place where Elohim dwells. So the Levites, their prayers, it entered into the hundredfold of the heavenly tabernacle where Messiah dwells on the Ark of the Covenant. This is what we want. This is what we're seeking. But again, the sons of Aaron, the Levites, they were in one accord. They were in unity. We're not. But today we can change that. Come on, brothers and sisters. The spiritual realm to the throne room is not as far as we might think, brothers and sisters. No, it is another dimension that only prayers and fasting can access. It is a dimension of higher frequency, vibration, and force. This force of power is the Ruach HaKodesh. And this is why in the first century, they called the power of the Ruach, the healings and the raising the dead, they call it the mysterious force. So it is very important to know that this dimension cannot be accessed in the flesh. It can only be accessed through the Ruach. Only the Ruach can open that realm. Again, our prayers must be fervent, effectual, and done in righteous standing. These prayers must be long prayers, not short. These kinds of prayers can bring an outpouring of the Ruach of fire, as we will see today. This is exactly what we want, don't we? I know I do. This is what I'm desiring, brothers and sisters. I pray that you desire the same. Are you willing to be part of this vision, beloved? Or do you have too much going on right now? Are you too busy? You got a lot of problems going on that you're not putting YAHUAH in first place. He's taking second or third or fourth place. Beloved brothers, this is a time to wake up. Like Elijah said, choose between two opinions. Who are you going to serve in this last hour, in the 11th hour? Who is it? The object here is to train ourselves daily to go further in prayer from 1 hour to 2 to 5 to even 10 hours of continuous prayer if it is possible. Now we're going to talk about the Ruach and power of Elijah. We know that Elijah was a man of prayer. In 1 Kings 18 verse 37, Eliyahu prayed, and it was a masterpiece prayer as he cried out to YAHUAH. And he prayed, "Hear me, O YAHUAH, hear me, that these people may know that you, O YAHUAH, are Elohim, that you have turned their hearts back to you again." Beloved brothers, did you see here in the yellow where it says these people? When you see these people, that means they're not walking in covenant status. They're not my people or your people. They are these people. So they were not in covenant status. They were not shemayim to his word. They were not praying and fasting like today. It was very rare. And so as a whole, they were failing. They were dead. So Elijah did not pray for the destruction of the idolatrous priest of Baal, nor did he pray for thunder from Shamayim to consume the rebellious house of Israel. But he, however, prayed that the splendor and the power of YAHUAH be manifested, and that YAHUAH, through the Aleph Tav, the Alpha and the Omega, not Eliyahu, turn the faint and discouraged hearts of rebellious Israel back to YAHUAH himself. The spirit and power of Elijah is Yahushua's Ruach, the outstretched arm, the mighty hand, and the power of the Father. Messiah is the Lamb, having 7 horns, 7 eyes, 7 spirits of Elohim sent out through the whole earth. We are to fear not, beloved. We are to fear not. We are to allow YAHUAH to restore us. That's what he wants to do. He wants to restore his nation in you. But we're too busy. And we're not doing the things that he's asking for. We're not delighting in the things that he delights in. So what did Eliyahu do? He raised up a nation that was dead. This kind of prayer must have a vision. And it takes reverence, devotion, and honor to YAHUAH. We either honor or despise YAHUAH. We either love him or hate him to his face. We are either fervent, hot, or lukewarm. There is no gray area with Yahushua. None. None at all. In the 7th chapter of Ezekiel, Messiah Yahushua says this: my eye will not spare, nor will I have pity. I will punish you according to your ways, while your abominations are in your midst. Then you will know that I am YAHUAH who strikes. Your doom has come. The rod of authority has blossomed. Pride has budded worldwide. Beloved, this is true. Pride everywhere, worldwide, is budded in the last 2 years, and is budding still. But at the same time, the rod of authority, his judgments, are also coming to the earth. And furthermore, even if these 3 men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in the land with a famine, they would deliver their own souls by their righteousness, declares Yahushua. So we are all going to be judged according to our own ways, according to our righteousness, according to our fervent prayers, according to our obedience, according to our fire that we have for him, according to the honor that we're giving him. Before the Elijah challenge, Elijah was ready. He was prayed up. He was fasting. Today there's a transition from the sons of Eli, these modern shepherds who reject the Torah and feed the flock's lies. There needs to be obedience, reverence, the fear of YAHUAH, and honor in these rare days, beloved. That needs to be preached from the top of the houses, from rooftops. Through Elijah, Father brought the manifestation of power to enable Israel to choose between 2 opinions. The fire was restored to Israel, and they returned to covenant. The tabernacle of David in them was raised. The sons of Belial, they are worthless in the eyes of YAHUAH without profit, or today on the earth still. As Jeremiah 16 verse 19 tells us, that the Gentiles from the ends of the earth will seek YAHUAH and say, our fathers have received, they have inherited nothing but lies without profit, worthless doctrines without salvation unto life, unto the 100-fold. Now, Messiah said that John was the greatest prophet, and that he that is the least in the kingdom would be greater than John. We know that John was a prayer warrior. But who was Yahuchanan? Who was John the Baptist? Well, John did teach his disciples how to pray. And he did teach the true teachings and how to operate in the ancient order of Melchizedek. Now, did John do supernatural healings? Did John cast out devils? Did John raise people from the dead? No, beloved, he did not. But John, like Elijah, raised a dead nation in his 6 months of ministry before being murdered. He did his job. The reward for his work was decapitation. Now, beloved brothers and sisters, right now we are in the spirit and power of Eliyahu right now. And if you want to take up the mantle, if you want to take up your calling, that is also being offered to us, because we know that there are guillotines for beheadings, for decapitations in the coming years. You see, beloved brothers, a lot of people don't know that Jezebel had a contract on Eliyahu, but she didn't get him. She got John the Immerser. And in our day, if we're operating in the spirit and power of Eliyahu, the Jezebels of the world that are operating right now want our heads. So if you don't want to take up your mantle, if you don't want to take up your calling, You don't have to. But I'm willing to give everything to Yahuwah. My life doesn't matter. What matters is Him. That's what matters. Now in Luke 1:17, Yahuwah and John shall go before the Master Yahushua in the spirit and power of Elijah, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and to turn the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for Yahuwah. John's 6 months plus Messiah's 3-year ministry is the pattern reflected in the last 3.5 years of the time of Jacob's trouble, called the Great Tribulation. So what am I saying? I am saying that now is the time to be restored. Now is the time for the tabernacle of David in you to be restored to life 24/7. Yes, John accomplished his mission, but will you? He turned the hearts of the disobedience. It was the Father working through John in the spirit and power of Elijah. He turned the hearts of the disobedience to the wisdom of the just, to Torah, like our fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He had passion. He had passion to turn these people to a nation of priests ready for Messiah. The 2 witnesses will do the greater works, but Elijah has to prepare the way. He has to prepare the hearts of the people. And right now they're cold because of the shepherds that are preaching in the pulpits right now. But just not the pulpits, YouTube, TikTok, everywhere. They're everywhere. Those who have an ear and have been called to be part of the Elijah camp of fire and do not answer the call, you will be cursed and destroyed by Messiah. And I don't say that. His word tells us that in Malachi 4:5. Behold, I will send you Elijah, Eliyahu, the prophet, before the coming and the great and the fearful day of Yahuwah. And this is to bring reverence and honor that is missing today. And he will turn the hearts to the fathers to the children, and the heart of man to his neighbor, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. There you have it in green. If we do not fulfill our calling, Father Yahuwah will have his son send a curse onto us. He will get this done with or without me or you, but it is getting done. There's others that are preaching this message, not just me. As you can see, Yahuwah and John and those that are operating in the spirit and power of Elijah right now are to turn the heart of the individuals that are disobedient to the Torah to our father Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now this is being done by the quickening power that is in us, that raised Messiah from the dead, and the heart of man to his neighbor, because we don't love our neighbors anymore. We're not feeding the sick. We're not, as a whole. There are some that are doing it. As a whole, we're not. We're failing. So it's just not about prayer, fasting, and exaltation. We have to be a total package. But the most important is the praying and the fasting and the exaltation. Beloved brothers and sisters, the final piece of the good news is that we return to our first love, or Messiah will remove our menorah lampstand by using Satan to turn off our light. Beloved, we are living in the last days. We are in the tribulation. And if you are a rapture person that believes in the rapture, hear me and hear me well. You are in the tribulation. You need to make other plans, and that is to get yourself ready. Put the word into practice. Pray. Seek the Father. Ask him if what I'm saying is true. It will take much fasting and continuous prayer as an assembly in unity for Father Yahuwah to reveal to us his outstretched arm, his power, and his splendor of the fullness of his fire. Very few people want to get together. Very few. It's very disturbing. But we must continue. We must fight. We must press forward. As sons of righteousness in Messiah, as a nation of priests, our goal is to be about Yahuwah alone, in his honor, in absolute reverence. Do not defiling anything, nothing treated as common, especially the blood of the covenant. Today's shepherds speak lies against Yahuwah. They speak lies against our Father and his word. YAHUAH is being ignored. He's being forsaken. His laws are being ignored and broken. His name profaned, and his book forgotten for vain traditions of men. His house has been made into a circus. Our prayer, it has diminished, not only in our schools, but in our own relationships. So let us gather in unity and start praying together, beloved. Under YAHUAH's banner, let's do that. Let's get together. Let's make it a goal. Let's make it your vision. Because Father is able to do according to the power that works in us. YAHUAH's problem is that a nation that we are dead. That's right. We are dead as a nation. Not only are we dead, not dead to self, but we are dead as a nation. We're dead spiritually as a nation of priests. Let me explain. We're going to talk about the mystery of the tabernacle of David, and it's going to deal with 24:7 and the number 40. The tabernacle of David is a spiritual concept because we are the living stones offering up living sacrifices that make up the household of YAHUAH. And this is the tabernacle of Yahushua's body. We're the body. We're the assembly. We, with Messiah in us, are the living tabernacles here on earth that make up the whole house of Israel. And Messiah will sit on David's throne when he returns from sitting at the right hand of the Father. Now, back in the day, when David began and when they set up the tabernacle with the sons of Zadok, David had exaltation and he had worship and he had continuous prayer 24/7. Now, again, within this mystery, it is encoded with the numbers 24:7 and 40. The number 24 is associated with the 24 courses of the priesthood found in the priestly calendar. And we have a priestly calendar that Father gave us in our Telegram channel if anyone is interested. These 24 courses offered praise and worship 24/7 that King David established through the revelation of the Ruach to align the earthly ministry with the 24 elders of the book of Revelation who stand in the heavenly tabernacle with exaltations and worship that never cease. The number 7 represents the perfection of Elohim as in the songs of the Sabbath sacrifice. Yes, keeping the Sabbath according to the way of Yahushua as the way he delights is a living sacrifice. Now, beloved brothers and sisters, I'm going to play to you a part of the song of a song of the Sabbath sacrifice so that you can understand the concept of where the Zadoks and the heavenly realm is at.
The Song for the Sixth Sabbath. Each of the 7 chief princes recites a psalm. Then, in order, each of the same 7 beings offers a blessing, a text belonging to the instructor, the song accompanying the sacrifice on the 6th Sabbath, sung on the 9th of the 2nd month. Bless the God of the godlike beings, you who inhabit the highest heaven, holy of holies, and exalt his glory, knowledge of the eternal godlike beings, those called to the highest of heights. A psalm of blessing will be spoken in the language of the first chief prince to the eternal God, incorporating his language's 7 wondrous blessings. Then he will bless the King of all the eternally holy 7 times with 7 wondrous words of blessing. A psalm of exaltation will be spoken in the language of the second chief prince to the King of truth and righteousness, incorporating his language's 7 wondrous exaltations. Then he will magnify the God, all the divine beings who are appointed for righteousness, 7 times with 7 words of wondrous exaltation. A psalm of glorification will be spoken in the language of the third chief prince, a glorification of his faithfulness directed to the King of the angels, incorporating his language's 7 wondrous glorifications. Then he will glorify the God of the exalted angels 7 times with 7 words of wondrous glorification. A psalm of praise will be spoken in the language of the fourth to the warrior, who is over all the godlike beings, incorporating his language's 7 wondrous warrior utterances. Then he will praise the God of warrior power 7 times with 7 words of wondrous praise. A psalm of thanksgiving will be spoken in the language of the 5th to the glorious King, incorporating his language's 7 wondrous thanksgivings. Then he will thank the glorified God 7 times with 7 words of wondrous thanksgiving. A psalm of rejoicing will be spoken in the language of the 6th to the God of goodness, incorporating his language's 7 cries of wondrous rejoicing. Then he will cry out with rejoicing to the King of goodness 7 times with 7 words of wondrous rejoicing. A psalm of musical praise will be spoken in the language of the 7th chief prince, a powerful musical praise to the God of holiness, incorporating his language's 7 wonderful praise elements. Then he will sing praise to the King of holiness 7 times with 7 wondrous words of musical praise, together with 7 psalms of blessing to him, 7 psalms of exaltation of his righteousness, 7 psalms of glorification of his kingdom, 7 psalms of praise of his glory, 7 psalms of thanksgiving for his wondrous doings, 7 psalms of rejoicing for his might, and 7 psalms of musical praise of his holiness. The generations of 7 times with 7 wondrous words of. Then, in the name of the glory of God, the first of the chief princes will bless all the wise with 7 wondrous words, blessing all their counsels in his holy temple with 7 wondrous words, and blessing those who know eternal things. In the name of his truth, the second chief prince will bless all their stations with 7 wondrous words. Indeed, he shall bless with 7 marvelous words. He will also bless all who exalt the king with 7 words of his marvelous glory, and he will bless all who are eternally pure. In the name of his exalted kingdom, the third of the chief princes will bless all who are exalted in knowledge with 7 words of exaltation, blessing all the divine beings wise in his truth. Indeed, he shall bless with 7 marvelous words. He will also bless all those appointed for righteousness with 7 marvelous words. In the name of the majestic king, the fourth of the chief princes will bless all who walk upright with 7 majestic words. He will also bless those who establish majesty with 7 wondrous words, blessing all the divine beings who draw near to his veritable truth with 7 righteous words, so that they can gain his glorious compassion. In the name of his majestic wonders, the 5th chief prince will bless all who comprehend the mysteries of pure insight with 7 words of his exalted truth. He will also bless all who are quick to do his will with 7 wondrous words, blessing those who confess him with 7 majestic words, comprising a wondrous thanksgiving. In the name of the warrior deeds of the divine beings, the 6th chief prince will bless all who are insightful warriors with 7 wondrous words of his warrior power. He will also bless all who are perfect in the way with 7 wondrous words, that they might continue forever in the company of all the eternal beings. Yet again will he bless all who wait for him with 7 wondrous words, that his compassionate loving kindness might return to them. In the name of his holiness, the 7th chief priest bless all the holy who establish knowledge with 7 words of his wondrous holiness. He will also bless all who exalt his laws with 7 wondrous words that act as mighty shields. Yet again will he bless all who are predestined for righteousness, they who praise his glorious kingdom forever and ever, with 7 wondrous words that lead to eternal peace. Then in the name of his holiness, all the chief princes will bless in unison the God of divine beings with all their 7-fold appointed words of blessing. They will also bless those predestined for righteousness and all those blessed of the eternally blessed. To them, saying, Blessed be the Lord, the King of all, exalted above every blessing and praise, he who blesses all the holy who bless him, and those who declare his righteousness in the name of his glory, he who blesses all who receive blessing forever.
All right, beloved brothers and sisters. So the number 7 is very, very important in the Shemayim, in the heavenly tabernacle. This is why we've been speaking so much about the heavenly tabernacle, because we are the tabernacle on earth. Our bodies are. that make up Messiah's body, which is the tabernacle that he said, destroy this temple and I will restore it in 3 days. And so 7 represents the perfection of Elohim, as we just heard in the Songs of the Sabbath sacrifice. Now, it was talking about the King of Truth and his righteousness. This is YAHUAH Melchizedek, our King of Righteousness. That's what Melchizedek means. So they're praising the Messiah in the heavenlies. They're praising both the Father and the Son. And so we are to do the same here on earth. This is what I mean by we are to do his will on earth as it is being done in heaven. And this is being done 24/7 without any interruptions. And beloved brothers and sisters, this is the end of part 1. Shalom. Beloved brothers and sisters, we are to examine ourselves according to 2 Corinthians 13:5. Examine ourselves, examine this teaching and see if it is of YAHUAH or not. And if it is, see if you can apply it to your life today. YAHUAH has entrusted us with much, and we are to guard every word that proceeded out of his mouth. And Father, thank you for bringing us today, Father, to give us revelation on how to become a new creation.